Welcome back. It's Amy. Today I'm going to give you an introduction to cycles of behavior. Like I said previously, this first set of videos is going to give you an overview of the topics that we will later double down on. This is one of those topics. I even have visual aids today. Very exciting. In the last video, we discussed defense mechanisms, and one of those defense mechanisms was compartmentalizing. And that, again, is trying to understand that all of your problems are interrelated. And the defense mechanism of compartmentalizing is not accepting that fact and feeling like your sexual problems are separate or that your drug problems are separate. They're all interrelated. So your sexual problems relate to the rest of the problems in your life, even if you don't realize it. Examining your behavioral cycle is one way that this can become clear. Let me give you an example of Jeff. Jeff has problems with his anger. It usually begins with him feeling hopeless, and it's useless to try and change it. When he feels hopeless and he doesn't try and change it, this makes him feel inadequate. He doesn't feel competent to solve his problems. Thus, he is not assertive. The more inadequate and unassertive he is, the more he feels like a victim. This makes him angry, and sometimes he explodes. Afterwards, he feels shame and guilt, but he stuffs those feelings down and hides them, even from himself. His lack of assertion, his anger, and stuffing his feelings down makes him feel worthless. Because of this, he stays away from a lot of people and is mostly a loner. His anger, his emotional flatness, and his lack of self-worth makes him feel hopeless. Now, all of Jeff's feelings are related to one another. None of them are separate. One problem feeds into the other, making him feel powerless and making him feel worse. Jeff's behaviors may be described like this. He feels that his life is hopeless. This leads to him feeling inadequate. This leads to him not communicating with other people. This leads to him feeling like a victim. His feeling like a victim directly feeds into his anger, and so he acts out. This feeds into him stuffing his feelings down and hiding them. This leads to him feeling worthless and having no self-esteem. This leads to him feeling isolated and hopeless. It's just a cycle. And if we were to diagram it, it would look something like this. Right? They do form a cycle, and I am going to post this picture on our Facebook page so you don't have to worry about copying it down now. But here he is feeling hopeless. This hopelessness makes him feel inadequate. He feels inadequate and he cannot assert himself. When he can't assert himself, he feels like a victim. When he feels like a victim, it makes him angry. When he becomes angry and explodes, afterwards, he stuffs those feelings down, including his feelings of shame and guilt. And when he stuffs those feelings down, his self-esteem or his self-worth is so low. And when he doesn't feel good about himself because his self-esteem is so low, he avoids others and feels helpless, which leads him right back overall to feeling hopeless. So, if he wasn't so hopeless, he wouldn't feel inadequate. If he felt adequate, he would feel comfortable being more assertive. If he were more assertive, he would not feel like a victim. If he felt less like a victim, he wouldn't be angry. And if he wasn't angry and he didn't explode, he would have no reason to stuff his feelings down. And if he didn't stuff his feelings down, he'd have better self-esteem. And if he had better self-esteem, he'd have more friends and not be so alone. Okay? Make sense now? Look, you're like a puzzle made up of a lot of different parts. We discussed last time how your problems and issues and your good attributes, both the good and the bad, are all a part of who you are. When your problems are seen as a part of all this, it illustrates your deviant cycle. When you change the individual parts of that cycle, just like with this one, you can stop your sexually abusive behavior. Making changes in your life may be painful at times. I can tell you it is. Personal growth is always a bit painful. It's stressful too. First of all, it means admitting that you have a problem in the first place, and you may have to admit it not just to yourself, but to other people. If you work hard, it'll be less painful, and you'll be able to see some light at the end of the tunnel. Today's assignment for you is for you to make a list of the behaviors that you know you do and that you do repeatedly that have caused problems for you. Write down how you feel right before you engage in these problematic behaviors, and then write down how you feel right after you engage in these problematic behaviors. Next time, we're going to talk about what you need to do to work on these problems now that you've identified them. Things are going to start getting clearer, I promise. Until next time, please subscribe to this channel, make comments, leave questions. You can also do that on our Facebook page of the same name. I will answer all questions, and if you know someone who you feel could benefit from these videos, please share them. And check out our Twitter feed too. Once again, right, with the hashtag RUR4T. It's awesome that you're working so hard. It really is. You can do this. Until next time, be well.